Good evening. This public meeting, which is being organized in the context of also December 6th, I think it has been aptly titled The Idea of India. And I would see, if I see historically, there are two major blows to whatever the idea of India as it emerged during the anti-colonial movement. One was the immediate one, of course, 1947, the partition we are all aware of, the huge loss of life from both sides of the border, and complete impunity which the perpetrators enjoyed and continue to enjoy. So that was the first, more than the violence, the impunity. जो इतने सारे लोगों ने हत्याएं की, they raped women, they abducted women, they killed children, looted property, but all in the name of nationalism was allowed to. That was the first blow to the idea of it. However, whatever be the history, but as our textbooks can continue to say and tell us, that it was, if not the Muslim, but the Muslim League responsible for the partition. And therefore, all the this was portion to the community. The emergence of Pakistan, its illegitimate presence in our neighborhood, all of this was the burden which ordinary Muslim would grow up with, would face it. And the second major, or probably a continuity of that, was the 1992 December 6 demolition of Babri Mosque, in complete violation of all legal principles, all constitutional provisions, and all kinds of assurances, जो कि highest authority would have given to the Supreme Court, to the judiciary, to the people of India. और उसके बाद जो एक ट्रेल ऑफ, उससे पहले भी जब अडवाणी जी रथ यात्रा लेके निकले थे, तो उन्होंने पीछे अपने रथ के खून की जो धब्बे हैं वो उनके रथ को फॉलो कर रहे थे. उसी तरह से जो डिमोलिशन के बाद हुआ, कई जगह बॉम्बे राइट्स, वी नो वेरी वेल, देयर आर मेनी अदर प्लेसेस वेयर पीपल वर टारगेटेड, किल्ड. तो December 6 को एक ये पहचान है कि एक आइडिया ऑफ इंडिया जो है उसको सेकेंड मेजर ब्लो मिला. Around that same time, I as a student came to Aligarh. And why I was sent to Aligarh was that despite a little bit of cosmopolitan upbringing which we had, but my father at that time felt that Aligarh is the safest place where a Muslim child should go, and studied at least around the time when this mobilization around Ram Janambhoomi, Babri Mosque, etc. was taking place. Interestingly, and for a little bit of shock for me, Aligarh was not so accommodating. I'm sorry those who are here from Aligarh might feel it as a, but it was not so accommodating. It wasn't accommodating because of a variety of reasons. Your Muslimness alone did not ensure your inclusion within the university. I, as coming from Bihar, who was seen as part of one of those troublesome people in largely Western UP-dominated Aligarh, it had continued to retain its feudal character also in various ways, and we were constantly reminded in every way, from teacher to the student to others, and including various types of violence which would take place, that you are supposedly the minority which Apurvanand ji abhi keh rahe the, so you would be made to feel like something, that you were excluded. But this was not when I came to JNU. JNU did not, it's not because I'm standing here and speaking. This is something which I continue to hold it, that at least this is not what JNU was. All of the friends, all of us, 3 or 4 of us who came here to JNU, 1 or 2 became faculty as well, along with me. none of us, we all shared the same feeling that we did not ever feel that JNU had any kind of, such prejudices which we could face very much really right on our face in Aligarh. So irrespective of whether Aligarh was Muslim or not, and whether JNU was what it was, there was a sort of an accommodating, character to JNU. To JNU's must have been a contribution of those who built JNU in terms of its academics as well as its politics. That JNU remained very accommodating. I think if December 6, 1992 was the second blow to the idea of India, the disappearance of Najib, 15th of October? 14th of October. 15th of October he disappeared, and 14th of October what he faced is a blow to the idea of JNU. It is a blow to the idea of JNU in two senses. One is, of course, because I think in the beginning the speaker who was referring to the communal sloganeering, etc., which was generally unheard of in JNU, although the presence of right in JNU is little old. However, the very fact that the presence of a person from another community might generate such kind of a hatred that you would subject the person to repeatedly to violence, to mob violence, is something which was never okay. So the first thing, the whole demonization of a person, and this demonization I do feel has some kind of relation to the fact that he belonged to a community, and the larger discourse which is coming, narrative which is coming from the politics around us, is also seeping into. And therefore, ultimately, one thing which the idea of JNU, which its compositeness, its diversity, its idea of accommodation definitely received a blow. And the second was the fact that the way in which, there have been scuffles in the past in JNU. Shomuda has been here for a longer time than me. Would recall that there have been scuffles, there have been political fights as well. But the way in which the entire thing happened, as we have come to know, that not only that scuffle took place at the gate of Najib's room, when some people went campaigning to his room, but after that, repeatedly when he was beaten up, when there was, and the whole tolerance for that mob violence, which seems to be there in, or entire, sort of a silence about it. This is something which is not JNU. Silence in the sense, I'm not talking about silence from the student community. Definitely the student community has risen against it. The JNU has been consistently protesting against it. There are various different bodies of the students who have organized, etc. But the silence which we see from the authorities is extremely, disappointing. The initial reports which we had, the fact-finding, etc., all of which would try not to mention the fact that there was any mob violence which took place. In fact, there is a complete mystery about mob violence. We come to hear about it from narratives of students, from those who are witnesses, but it's not acknowledged in any of those reports. There are so many inquiries, etc., which have been going on. Rather, what's the first time, the notification which came to us at that time, now I have relinquished it, left it, but when I was a warden then, the first time we got the notice was that there has been a student, Najib, who's been missing from his hostel. Please look for him in your own hostel, and if he's found, hand him over to the security. The notification definitely suggested that the person has ran away, is absconding, catch him, get hold of him and hand him over to the security. And soon we found that another circular which came which said that he is an accused, and the accused has announced. Now this blame displacement, this whole idea of, is nothing new. Generally, perpetrators of mob violence who have support of powers that be are able to, play around with the truth, that they're able to displace the blame and put it up on the, rather on those who are victims. This generally happens during the riots, when you will find that there's a whole machinery, including the vernacular media, etc., which is involved in blame displacement, in arguing that these are the people, those are the victims themselves, who instigated the violence, who triggered the violence. And here again we know, and we are told so many times, that this person, Najib, our friend, slapped one person who had come to his room very innocently, and he was slapped. I'm not questioning that narrative, but around this time when the entire thing was going on, I also happened to interact with the SHO who was investigating the case. And even the police was not buying this story, let me tell you. Irrespective of the fact that whatever the administration was trying to sell, even the police was not buying this story. They said, "Ki sir, kuch to provocation hua hoga, without which why should anyone slap?" They are used to dealing with scuffles. They say that people are usually in non-dominant position. Remember, Najib was alone, and there are 3 or 4 people who had gone campaigning. People usually in non-dominant position do not initiate violence. So, if at all we acknowledge the fact that this has happened, there has to be a very, very sound provocation for it. Otherwise, they couldn't. Well, logically, we can deduce various ways and develop our own type of understanding about it. What I found extremely, again, for a long time, I didn't want to comment on this issue because ultimately there are 2 groups of students involved. As a teacher, we felt that at least about what happened, how things happened, who is to be blamed, who is the perpetrator, etc. These are the things which an impartial inquiry should establish. And as a faculty here, as a teacher here in whose class, there could be people coming from different political orientations. It is not good to comment on the fact itself. It will be like, certain kind of presumptions which you are offering. But around the same time, I could read what was the narrative which the administration was trying to sell. This narrative, which really puts not only the administration in the spot, but in a very sorry position, I would say. It puts it in a sorry position because in universities across India, wherever you see growing lumpenism, etc., you find that it has sometime or the other received patronage from the administration. It is on the patronage of the administration that certain kinds of groups rise. They become sort of a parasite for the, ultimately becomes parasite for the entire administration themselves, and actually destroy the culture which a university should promote. That is about harmonious coexistence, as well as a certain kind of freedom which everyone could feel and would be able to enjoy, particularly to express their own opinion. Across India, wherever universities decline, and we have seen, during our own period, that how some of the universities, the most prestigious ones, academic institutions, declined from their old earlier glory. And one of the reasons was this: the patronage offered to certain caste communities, etc., and their boss. This is what seems to be emerging. And in that way, मुझे लगता है कि administration is not doing a good service to the university itself. I can understand the stake of the administration and the university is the least. In fact, ultimately, it is the student population whose stakes are the highest in the university. It is the highest because it stays the shortest. Maybe normally a student in JNU would be here for 4, 5, 7 years or 8 years, something like that, complete their research, PhD, and go. But the stakes are highest because it is the degree, it is the association with the university, which becomes one's identity. One with pride comes to associate with the university. It is a sorry situation for the administration because rather than upholding and trying to, इसमें कुछ और इजाफा किया जा सके, इस यूनिवर्सिटी की इज्जत, इसकी पहचान पे वगैरह, the kind of steps that the administration is pursuing for the last one and a half years is ultimately leading it towards the path of destruction. This is why it is unlike what it should be doing in terms of its responsibility. What we find is it is actually, whether it is being ill-advised, whether it is being advised by some ideological apparatus outside the university, whatever. But ultimately, those who are occupying the offices of responsibility, by ignoring certain things, by remaining silent about it, by offering patronage to one, and which is now becoming increasingly obvious, they ultimately actually take the university to path of destruction. Whatever the objective is. There is a strong resilience within the university and therefore they might not succeed. But this is how history has told us that many universities, many institutions declined from their old glories. The case of, a narrative which came in the newspapers, etc., and probably this is a janbujh ke there is an attempt generally to give a new twist to it when one doesn't succeed. So, एक idea आया कि he left on his free will. नजीब खुद अपने ख्वाहिश से यूनिवर्सिटी से चला, and wherever he is, but it is out of his free will, without any force, compulsion, coercion, that he left. और उसको सपोर्ट करने के लिए we have been told that there is some mysterious warden who has seen him taking an auto, and there is now a mysterious auto driver also who dropped him to Jamia. The question is that even if all this is true, what is free will? A person is beaten up a day before, he is beaten up repeatedly. He is a person who is just 15 days back who has joined the hospital. He is new to the campus. And not only that, the hostel administration as well, immediately, without putting any inquiry into place, etc., accuses him not only of makes him apologize for whatever happened, and immediately gives punishment. Having been humiliated and, in such an undignified manner, and that too so many times, where is the free will to decide that whether he should remain on the campus or not? What choice is generally left with? Where you're left with very few choices. Either you retaliate, you do something else, or you do what probably Najib did. In that kind of an anger, anxiety, etc. So this idea of free will, which is being not sold, should be seriously questioned. कि अपनी कोई ख्वाहिश से नहीं चले. एक सिचुएशन ऐसी क्रिएट की गई जिसमें complicity of the administration is very much there. उसको recognize करना probably इस वजह से जो मैंने शुरू में कहा था कि मॉब वायलेंस को के अराउंड एक तरह की मिस्ट्री बनाई जा रही है और कहीं पे एक्नॉलेज नहीं किया जा रहा है. शायद probably इस वजह से कि बिकॉज उसमें इनकी अपनी कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी एक्सपोज होती है. We are not being told. So this is something which we need to. We were also told that there are various other ways in which now, not only that new kinds of twists are being given to Najib's disappearance, but also those who are protesting against it, those who are agitated about it, those who have tried to keep the issue alive, those who have constantly reminded the administration, the police, etc., that the boy who is missing here is a serious issue. It cannot just be ignored. And that those who have kept this thing alive and in the public domain for the last 1.5 months, what an easy task to do. Now it is these people, their leadership, those who are in the forefront, are being served notice, are being threatened with, disciplinary action. What kind of disciplinary action one doesn't know, but they're definitely being served all kinds of notices, etc. There is, and it is being told now कि ये लोगों ने यूनिवर्सिटी की पीस को डिस्टर्ब किया. I was reading the notice. It said that because the time when we are talking here, speaking to each other here, there is a public meeting being organized. Some people sitting in the close by in residence are getting disturbed, and their children have their own exams, and all that is a concern of the university administration. The university administration again ignores this fact that despite a situation of near helplessness which we see, still this body of agitated students have not taken to any kind of violence. If this is something which is being assumed as violent, assumed as disturbing the peace of the university and harming the university, it is completely illogical. We can only say that an authority resorts to coercion, resorts to such kind of strong arm tactics when it lacks legitimacy, when it is not ready to face, and in that sense it is no longer an authority. It is just a brute coercive force. It stands on weak grounds, and therefore it is not able to engage with those who are protesting. And hence, December 6th in that context becomes so important. While concluding, I would just say that this public meeting being organized in the context of December 6th also reminds us about violence which is taking place, which certain sections of our country have faced, but also there have been, an active critical mass which has emerged, which has among the younger students, members of the civil society, an expansion of right-based consciousness, etc. That we see that there is some sort of a this is what we should look towards. This is what we should constantly aspire, try to expand. Thank you.